Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode. I'm Shane,
I'm Bo.
and we're your Kentucky Fried Critics.
Welcome back. We got another beer this week, you guys. We got Three Floyd's Zombie Dust Undead Pale Ale. And if you played along online and guessed the movie we're doing is Night of the Comets. Do you know what that movie is?
Night of the Comet.
Oh, just Comet?
Yeah, no S.
I did it wrong. Oh well. Night of the Comet.
It's just one comet.
Yeah.
I'm actually the one that decided that this movie fit perfectly.
It does.
We're not going to try to hide anything from you guys. We really intended to do an entirely different movie. And just in case anybody out there guesses or tries to guess the other movie, so that way you can still feel like maybe you were right, was going to be Return of the Living Dead. Not Night of the Living Dead.
No, Return.
Which is a very funny movie.
It's awesome.
A good movie.
We will do it.
But after we decided on this beer and upon closer introspection of my own knowledge of so many movies, I recalled that there was a movie that just fit Zombie Dust as a title way better than Return of the Living Dead, and that's Night of the Comet. So the reason this is a perfect fit, we're going to jump the gun just a little bit on our synopsis and reaction to the movie to go ahead and say this, because you're probably wondering, how does that tie in?
Yeah, what does a comet have to do with zombies?
So after this comet passes, there are a handful of people. Everybody else is either turned into dust or zombies. Zombie dust. So it just seemed, it was too good to not use for this. So we literally both stopped everything to go back and change what movie we were watching. I think Bo had already watched Return of the Living Dead once.
I have my notes written for it already. But when we do that movie, I'm ready. I'm good.
That's how dedicated we are. We will make changes at the last second.
Yeah,
so,
especially if it makes a better joke.
We totally decided on this movie. It's a movie from 1985. It came out in 85. All the copyrights you'll see in the film say 84 because that's when it was filmed.
Yeah, this is the most 80s.
It is a very 80s movie. A largely unknown cast. I feel like it's the kind of movie that most people listening probably has not seen. It's a pretty obscure movie.
They're missing out.
It's like a B movie, maybe C.
No, high B movie. This is my favorite kind of movie. This movie is delightful trash. It's great. We got all the great stuff from a bad movie. We got extended landscape shots to fill time. We got bad acting. We have like cheap cutaways to hide the fact that we don't have money for special effects. It's great.
The entire soundtrack is almost all synth music,
except for
like, and not even like bands. Like, it's not a band. It is literally it's the it's whoever it's.
He's sitting in an office smoking a cigarette with a little glass of Jack next to him, just
going off. All of them very different too. Like,
the music's great. I would rock the soundtrack.
It hits a lot of really weird turns, but none of them feel out of place.
No,
like. Some that stick out to me off the top of my head is like the intro music that we'll start with in a moment, and then the motorcycle when she's riding the motorcycle later on, like that music just hits, and you're just like, so different from everything else I've been hearing.
Yeah,
but it works for what I'm seeing.
Yeah, she looked badass on that motorcycle.
Let's actually get into the movie then. So let's start with the opening. Tells us how this is the premise of what's about to happen. And they tell us that a comet comes by once every, they don't give us an exact amount of time, but obscene number of years.
They said something about it hadn't been seen since the dinosaurs disappeared.
Yeah. So they're implying that that's why the dinosaurs weren't
that's why
here.
They're gone.
Comes through, and it's on its trajectory to come past Earth again.
Yeah, and we're gonna go through its tail.
And it will bring with it
the dust. Everybody is partying, having a great time.
Well, before we go there, I just want to go back to that intro, because the funny part about that is that intro, the story of this comet that has evilness to it, that comes through once every massive number of eons, is literally the same storyline for Phantasy Star 4. Just a weird throwback I want to call out. It's a role-playing game on the Sega Genesis. It's literally the same. No, don't get me wrong. This movie came out first.
Oh, yeah.
I highly doubt anybody who wrote that game saw this movie.
Bullshit.
But it is, well, maybe. I'm
They
not
watched
going to.
it all the time.
It is a beat for beat. Like, that is the story. The game starts, you beat what you think is a big bad guy, and then you find out it's not. And then you find out this whole crazy storyline about a comet that comes through once every so many generations. And it
Does it make zombies in the game too?
it makes all the bad. You know how a role playing game works. It
Yeah.
makes all the bad guys. The reason there are bad guys is because this comet is coming.
It basically makes them zombies. They totally watched this movie, dude.
But so as soon as we cut away from the strange and only time there is narration in the entire movie, we cut to again.
Doesn't it narrate at the very end?
Maybe it does.
might.
I can't even remember. Yeah, it opens to people all over the world partying down.
To a great song. Celebrate tonight, right? Everybody's chilling. And the first shot is literally of a guy holding a sign saying, "Don't worry, it's safe."
The beauty of this is I don't think in 40 years since this movie came out that the mentality of the world has changed at all. If we found out there was this truly possibly earth-ending thing that was going to happen, most of the world would be out to watch it and have a giant party. The difference between modern age and 1984 is very heavily felt in this movie.
Yeah, it is.
Because this movie wants to showcase some of the tech from the 80s as high, top end,
Right.
never going to be surpassed type technology. They really try to imply that. We see everybody partying down. We meet our main character, well, one of our two main characters.
Yeah.
Regina,
Reg, they go back and forth.
Yeah. Belmont.
Nice. A lot of 80s shit,
There are a lot of references to things throughout this,
right?
for sure.
She's playing Tempest,
Yeah, she's playing Tempest on the arcade.
right? Which was dope.
We see the movie theater she
Yeah,
works
she
in,
works-
although you wouldn't guess that because it
No.
totally looks more like a diner
Right.
counter than it does the concession stand for a movie theater.
Right.
Plus, they're selling
Weird
like
little
doodads
yeah,
and
little
things.
antenna things. Like,
Yeah, but I'll say that guy is a salesman.
yeah, he was. He got that guy to buy the 950 one. He's like, that one over there to see what she's wearing is $7. He's like, that's not as nice. Look at this one. He's like, say, blow on it. Just blow on it. And he blows, and the little tassels go. He's like, see look how nice that is. I know you got 950 on you. Come on.
And then we find out that the reason he's so good at his job is because he is the manager.
Yeah, he's the
because he
guy.
quickly calls over our main character to tell her she needs to get to work and stop playing those games.
Yeah.
And so she begrudgingly gets back to work, and we see more of the scenes going on out in the world. Then we cut to the projection room,
Yeah, we go to the projection room.
and we meet Larry.
Yeah, Larry. I like Larry. Larry's cool. Larry's the guy I would have talked to because he's like sells like bootleg movies and stuff.
Larry's a mix of cool and a douche.
Yeah.
There are moments where I'm like, he seems all right. Then there are
Right.
moments where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
man, this guy.
Well, they didn't want you to like him too
No,
much.
yeah, obviously. Well, certainly this first time we meet Larry, I
Yeah.
don't have too many problems with him.
No, 'cause
like
he's-
when we're just seeing him here.
just
The only
hustling.
thing I
He's
have
trying
a
to make
problem
some
with
money.
is maybe the part where he hints at paying her for sex.
Yeah, that was just because he's like, hey,
I know it
I'll
was
give
all a joke. The actor didn't deliver it very well,
No.
so he makes this line about how he would pay her $15 if she would stay at the projection room with him overnight because he's going to loan out a movie.
Yeah.
Loan out a movie.
like $150.
No, $100. So he calls a guy, talks to him. He calls, or I don't remember how that scene played out, but he talks to a guy on the phone, and the guy is like, wants the bootleg 3D copy of a movie, right? Yeah. And so he says, "Oh, $100 ain't gonna cut it this time. I'm gonna need a little bit more." And he says, "Oh, 110." Now you're talking my language. $110, $10 in 1985 is all it took to sweeten the pot to
Yeah.
make you change your mind on committing a crime.
Fraud at the very least, right? Misappropriation of goods.
Yeah.
I mean, we can argue the crime here all day.
But so after he agrees to this, that's when he has that's when we actually see Regina come in and they have their conversation about him wanting her to stay. And he does. He just says that he's going to pay her $15 to stay the night. And then she makes the joke about it was for fooling around, and he was like, "Well, that's not what it's for."
And besides, you're worth way more than that. Everybody knows that. And she just rolls her fucking eyes. I'm just like, dude, what a dick.
We immediately just cut from them to he's convinced her that she needs to stay the night. And so she's like, okay, but if I'm going to do that, I have to call home. And so we assume she's going to call home to talk to a parent.
Yeah.
And that is not the scene we get. She
No.
calls home, and it's the first time we get to lay eyes on her sister.
Yep.
Our other
Sammy.
lead characters, Samantha, Sammy, Sam. You'll hear all of them throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And she is in the brightest yellow and purple jazzercise
Cheerleader.
stereotypically 80s outfit I have ever seen, laying on the couch with the highest teased hair
Right.
you could get.
Eating chips like you do.
She says, what do you need? You know, typical. She's supposed to be your typical,
Pithy
like, annoying,
teenager.
well, and like annoying little sister, you
Yeah.
know, like, how am I supposed to help you?
Right.
And so that's when we find out that it's not the person that they are trying to speak with and that they don't get along with is their stepmom, not their mom, and their dad is in the army
These Green Berets.
and not at home.
No. Apparently not at home often.
Yeah, and we see that the stepmom
She is a bitch.
and just cheats on him.
Yeah.
Like literally right in front of the kids.
Right.
But so they have obviously they have a complicated relationship
Yeah.
with this woman.
No, she tries to simplify it. She's like, look, the major jumps on me, I jump on you. We
Yeah.
have a chain of command here.
And so that she tries to pass off this excuse of needing to do
Going
this
to
for
the-
science class to watch the
Yeah.
comet. The stepmom, she don't buy it.
No, not for a second.
And
She's like,
so-
look, I don't care what you're doing if it was up to me, but if anything happens to you,
Then I'm in trouble with your dad, and I ain't having that.
because I like this nice house and being able to go next door and blow Chuck.
Exactly. So that scene straight progresses into madness because the stepmom says no, and the
Yeah.
sister's like, how about I tell? Is the phone call's over at
Yeah,
this
phone
point, right?
call's
phone call's
over.
over at this
And
point.
she's like, God, what
But
if
the
I tell
sister-
Daddy about Chuck?
Yeah,
You
what do you
know?
think's gonna happen then? And so the stepmom just slaps her. I mean, hard.
Yeah.
I'm not talking like she was just like
Yo.
hush your mouth type slap.
No,
Like, she
full
straight
on.
slaps her.
And Sam tags her right back. Just
rightfully so. And as if that scene wasn't insane enough, then the stepmom, Debbie, right? I think it's
Doris.
Doris. I knew it was a D. I knew
Yeah.
it was a D. So then Doris just cocks her. I mean, cold cocks her in the face. She hits her.
smiled about it.
She hits her so hard she
She
backflipped
right,
and smacked
smacked
into
into
the
the
TV and the Christmas tree that are behind her.
She smiled before she did it. She's just like, oh, bitch. Pop! Bloodied her lip and everything. And then Doris goes outside to Chuck. Then the light show starts, right? That's when the meteor
Yeah, that's
starts
when.
happening.
Well, yeah. All of that happens.
And then we immediately
What
cut.
we see, what we see is almost right away. All of that happens. Yeah, she walks outside, flashing. Everything. The comet has appeared, and then it cuts
back to the projection booth.
to morning.
Yeah.
And
Larry scares her awake because he's pissed off. He's waiting on that dude to bring back his movie. He's been waiting for like 30 minutes.
and so he tells.
Reg.
I know. I just keep getting myself choked up laughing. This is so crazy. So he tells Reg that he's gonna take his motorcycle to go find this guy to get his movie because he's not gonna, and he needs her to stay there because the door's locked and he needs to get back in. Well, we just missed one scene that's my favorite, and it's just right before the morning
Superman
scene.
shit.
Yes. Okay. Scene we open up with shows Reggie laying with Larry.
Yeah, they're fooling around.
They're
having a
they're
time.
fooling around, and she stops everything, and she's just like, sometimes I just get worried that people are gonna see us somehow.
Like, no, nobody's gonna see us. There's no windows, and
Steel walls, he says.
Yeah, it makes a point.
Superman can't even see us. And then the line that comes up, I have such a problem with because Reggie then proceeds to use the word nerd in the complete wrong context. She tells Larry, "No, you idiot. It's lead. Superman can't see through lead. He can see through steel." And then she calls him a nerd for not knowing that Superman sees through steel but
Yeah.
not lead. And it's just like, wait, what? That's not what nerd means.
Yeah.
If anything, Reggie, you're the nerd. You knew that.
Yeah, if there's a nerd in this room, it's you,
It's
honey.
you.
I'm
It's
very
not.
sorry.
It's not Larry for having it wrong.
Larry's lucky he knows who Superman is, apparently.
And that's the whole scene. Is
It
it basically
immediately-
ends right there. They start fooling around. They fade to black, and then
Yep.
fades. It opens up to morning. We
Yep.
cut through the city. We see but don't understand yet what
Yeah,
we're seeing.
There's like
we just
a red
see
haze over.
there's a
everything.
red haze. There's clothes on the
and shit.
ground and red dust.
Dust
Everywhere, but we don't actually know. We can assume, but we don't actually know what that is yet.
Yeah.
We can assume it's all the
assume
people
something
because one of the scenes we pass is the neighborhood party, and it is all the
Just
clothes of the people.
And if you were paying attention to what Doris was wearing,
You know that it's just laid out there.
Yeah.
But so then we get back to Reggie and Larry.
Larry scares the shit out of her, yelling, wanting his tape back. He's been waiting for 30 minutes.
So he tells her, I'm going to get on my bike and I'm going to go track that guy down and get the movie. I need you to stay here because he needed someone to let him back in because the door was locked. And so then he leaves.
Well,
and
before he leaves, she's like, what about my $15?
Yes.
He's just like, tell him I'm pissed.
No. Before he says, he tells her, I'm going to go tell him that I'm very, 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 very pissed.
And then
he says it 4 times, like the drag on of dialogue for no reason there.
Yeah, and then she's like, what about my $15? And he goes, tell him you're pissed too.
Great line.
Larry goes to leave.
Larry leaves, and she piddles around the place, not knowing what to do with herself.
This is where Larry gets killed.
Oh, I couldn't remember if we see her do that first and then
he
Larry.
goes to go leave.
So then he leaves.
Here's something at the door.
Yeah, so he leaves. He goes. We see him just in an alley.
Yeah.
Knocking on a door.
No, he just hears something behind the door, and he's like, is that dude? Where's my thing? And he goes and he opens it. I guess he was going out the back way? Down a back hallway? I don't know.
I don't know.
Scene is shot pretty weird, but as soon as he opens the door, there's just a big zombie guy with a monkey wrench and just brains him.
And that's the first time we see a zombie.
Yeah.
And we can tell that they're very intelligent.
Yeah.
Certainly more intelligent than most zombies because, again, this guy is using
a tool
as a weapon.
Yeah. And he went for the second shot because Larry was still moving. And then we cut to
Reggie.
Yeah, she's
piddling around inside of the movie theater, trying to fill time.
She can't let it go that guy has a better score than her on that game.
Oh, yeah, we skipped past that earlier.
We did.
That's right. So she gets very angry because there's a DMK.
Yeah, on the Tempest, he got 6. He didn't even beat her high score, but she's like, no.
But she's just, he's
one
on there.
is on the scoreboard but me.
So she spends her time beating the score.
While Larry's being murdered.
As soon as she beats the score, she's immediately like, all right, well, I'm bored. I can't stay here.
Yeah, she goes to go outside.
And then she
gets herself locked out, right?
She puts like the ashtray to prop the door open. But again, the problem with doing something like that, because I've had this in real life, not an ashtray, but if you put a round thing to trap a door, it will slide out.
Did you notice? I ran it back like 3 times. You can see somebody's hand push the thing.
I did not.
You can see somebody's hand push the little ashtray thing so the door will shut.
That's funny.
It's right at the top. It just for a second
great.
Pushes it for a second. I ran it back like 5 times. It's like, is that what I think it is? It was awesome.
But so then we see her.
Yeah, she's locked out and she's got to go around the side to try.
And when she gets around the side,
zombie that killed Larry.
Well, no, first she sees the motorcycle and she's like,
oh yeah,
what? And she sees the wrench bloody on the ground.
Yeah.
Then and the keys.
Yeah, and she picks up the keys.
Yep. And then that's when she hears the zombie. And now we find out that these zombies are beyond intelligent because this guy speaks to her.
Yeah, he tells her, come here.
And so we now know that we are dealing with zombies, unlike zombies I have seen in almost any other movie, because these are zombies who are not slow. They don't move funny.
No.
They are intelligent.
They just want to eat you.
They just want to eat you.
Yeah, it's like if a regular guy just suddenly woke up and was like, I want to eat people today. But did you see? He gets up out of the boxes and he's just holding a giant rump roast. It's not even like a fake head or an arm. It's a rump roast.
Look, this movie was done on a shoestring budget, like we said, and they are proud of it, and I am proud of it.
It was great.
As people who are doing a production on a shoestring budget, I have real respect for people.
Oh, they used that in catering later for lunch. They just got it and they kind of washed it off, roasted it up. It was fine.
So then she hops on the motorcycle.
No, they have the fight first.
Well, yeah,
I have a problem with this fight. She has the keys in her hands. She throws the keys behind her and then turns and runs to go grab the keys after she threw them behind her. It was the weirdest shit I ever saw. If you're going to fight somebody, you better hold on to those keys. They're very useful. She has the little fight. She makes a point of saying that she's trained.
Yes, she tells him very clearly.
Yeah. I'm trained because we want to make sure that everybody in the movie knows that she's a badass and my daddy's in the military.
Yes.
It's a recurring thing throughout the movie.
And then
she immediately throws the keys before she fights this guy. If you're going to fight somebody, put the keys through your fingers and go.
look, I'm not even gonna lie. When I watched it last night, I was watching it with my wife, and she said the exact same thing. She was just like, What did she just do with the keys right now?
And then she had to go
And
scramble to get them.
Exactly. She knocks him down. She does not kill this guy.
No,
She just knocks him down so she can escape, and she has to scuttle for the keys. Again, if you watch the scene, it literally looks like she throws them.
Yeah, she kind of looked at him even like, oh, I have the keys. You think they just kept going? It was supposed to be cut from the film. She's like,
It might
I
have been.
still have the keys.
I wouldn't
Shit.
even doubt it.
Right.
But so then she finally gets on the motorcycle and takes off out of there. I have a problem with that because I was like, if you're in this life or death situation and you finally get on this motorcycle and you see how close it is to that zombie, you don't run over that thing's leg.
Yeah,
You don't
something.
make sure it probably can't come after you.
Back up and come after me.
But so then she takes off towards the only place she can think of to go, which is home, even though she has no idea if there's going to be anybody waiting there for her.
Yeah, but you got to find out.
So she pulls up in the neighborhood and she sees exactly what we had panned across once already, which is everybody in the neighborhood
Dust piles of clothes
outside in the cul-de-sac. And she walks in the door to her house, and as soon as she walks in the door to the house, she immediately can hear that, thank God, her sister is alive.
Yeah, she scares her though. She just pops up, just like, "Hi, yeah, I'm here," because she was like going real slow through the house, and then Sam, and then she pops up immediately, like, "Yeah, hi, I'm right here," and it's like, "Oh, Jesus!"
And then she just proceeds to start talking to her
about how
all kinds of crazy, but just all kinds of craziness. But specifically, starts the conversation with how she got hit in the mouth by Doris, and when she's telling the story, she literally makes a point to say that she would tell their dad about that. Didn't make it seem like that would be a big deal, but then was like, and I know the dentist won't take care of it. But implies he would be upset about that part of the story, not about getting decked by her stepmom in the first place.
Right.
Not like that would upset him.
The fact that
just the fact that just that the dentist won't cover it. Again, not even that it's loose, because he'd have to pay out of pocket.
Come on, you're a Green Beret. Your dental's got to be better than that.
But so she just keeps going because, again, she is our Valley Girl substitute. So the only thing they got right about her being a Valley Girl is that she talks fast
and is oblivious to everything going on around her.
But they don't give her the usual Valley Girl cadence in how she talks, which I am so happy for.
There's no,
because I would have hated gag me on a spoon.
Oh my God! F. All that shit. Yeah.
I'm thankful that they didn't give her that, but she is definitely supposed to. Her archetype is definitely Valley Girl. She's supposed to be.
She is rather ditzy too. So.
So we just keep walking around the house.
Yeah, and Reggie is trying to be like, no.
Trying to get into the conversation and can't.
You don't understand. Everyone's gone.
And we find out that the night before, and the only reason that Sam survived is that she decided she was running away after she got hit in the mouth. And so she ran away to their tool shed.
Yeah, the lawn storage
shed. Yeah, they kept being really weirdly descriptive of what it was.
Lawn storage shed. They said it a couple times.
Maybe, because again, this movie was definitely filmed in California. Maybe it's just they don't have that many, especially in the 80s, there just weren't a lot of people with them. So they were like, we really got to make sure people understand what we're saying this is. I don't know, but I felt every time they would say it, it almost would take you so out of place. Like, you're just like, whoa, that was jarring. Why are they calling it that?
Just call it a storage shed.
But so she stayed the night in there, and she came back into
walls.
Yeah, and she came back inside because she figured since she hadn't run far yet, she would still go to pep cheer practice.
Yeah, but she couldn't get anybody on the phone, so she.
I just love that she's still planning to run away.
Yeah,
she totally says that
after
practice. She just had to make sure she made it to cheer practice first.
It's very important to her.
At this point, though, Regina finally,
she's done.
She finally cuts in and makes her listen, and she's like, "They're gone." everybody is gone.
Yeah, Doris isn't over at Chuck's having a good time. She's right here.
Let me show. Well, no, yeah,
Holds
she
up
goes
the
outside.
dress.
No, she says, let's go outside. They step over the dead dog.
Oh, she holds up the leash.
And she's still looking at it like, I don't understand.
Where's the dog?
Yeah. And then they get outside, and that's
And
when
she's still holding the
yeah,
leash.
and that's when Reggie's like, this is Doris.
And here's
this is Chuck.
Pours
dumps
the dirt
it
out of the
She's like,
shoe.
they're all gone, and she's still not really like
yeah.
you can tell she sees it, but it's not like clicking. And then that's the moment. That's the moment we get the line from Reggie. It's Saturday morning. Where are the goddamn kids? And all my head thought, because they leave a super long silent moment
and
after that.
Hands around the neighborhood.
Was all I had playing through my head is that PSA from the 90s.
Yeah. Do you know where your
Yes,
kids
yeah.
are?
That's all I could hear right after she yells this. But it was such a moment. Such a moment.
In that PSA, all the shit those kids are doing looks super fun. Running around at night, having a good time. But yeah, she goes back in and she's still just like, she's denying it. She starts making her cereal and she's like, they're around.
Yeah, and then
Whatever.
so that's when Reggie's like,
Call
here,
someone.
call anybody. Call people that are not part of your pep squad.
Because
call
there's
people.
no one
There's
there.
nobody. And so
Then the radio announcer starts talking and they just both kind of look at the radio like,
let's go there. So then we immediately cut to, because again, they are in the suburbs.
yeah, so they just stole a car, I guess.
Like something.
Because they just roll up.
Well, no.
Well, she rolled up on a motorcycle and they drive up in a car. So I guess.
Oh, I guess Doris's car.
Doris's car, Chuck's car. It took
Oh, yeah. And so they get to the radio station, they get inside, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a radio station. This is like the receptionist lobby for like, or somebody who's like an exec out of the music industry. It is not a radio station.
No, it's got these nice
Like neon purple lights over this
stuff,
crazy
huge
styled
bench
couch
thing.
Not a radio station.
No, but they get there and there's nobody there. The radio station is automated. They've just got a bunch of tapes on timers, I guess, so the actual radio announcer could go watch the Comet, I guess, and no one would know. But they're standing there and they're looking around, and Sam has the best line. She just looks around. She's like, "Beat me up, Scotty." And then we meet the male hero of our movie.
Yeah, well, they meet him for the first time. We technically see him for a half second in the shadows.
Yeah, he's holding a gun, but we don't
Yeah.
get to see his face.
But so
and
this
you'll find
is
out why I'm excited in a second.
yeah, oh yeah. I had to stop you because I want to slow down too because I am very excited. I love that this movie has very few actors that anybody would know. That's part of the reason you didn't hear us recap any kind of names so far.
Yeah.
And even this is going to be one of those deep cuts only for the Star Trek fans out
Yep.
there. So we see Robert Beltran, who is, in case you don't know,
Commander Chakotay.
himself. So immediately after we get this line from Sam
Yeah.
of beam me up Scotty because they see this crazy tech, he pops out. I mean, there's no hesitation between the cuts. It's as if someone knew the future,
Right.
and knew that he would be a main part
Of Star Trek.
Trek.
It's like 10 years after this movie.
so far after.
It is immediate. She says it, and he pops out of the shadows with the gun, like, in the light. Let me see you all. Because I guess the zombies don't like light.
No. He's just trying to see their eyes.
Oh, okay.
He wants this because again, you can start to if someone started we don't technically know this yet, so it is kind of weird that they show us.
Yeah.
But someone can start to change and you would see their eyes being different. We find out later, you know, like people who have slowly, they're still way more human than that guy with the wrench was. Because that guy would still talk, but he's definitely, he's pretty zombified.
Yeah,
at that
I think
point.
after a while, right before you just crumble to dust, you just lose the.
I think that's what, I think that's what it is. I think
get
that's
more crazed.
as it happens. I
Yeah.
think that's the implication. Yeah, so we get him, and again, both of us are fanboying because we both love Star Trek. Voyager is one of my favorite of the series.
Mine too.
I've seen it probably more than the rest, even though I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite. I definitely have seen it more than all the others.
It's comforting. I don't know. You can just sit back and throw it on. You know what's happening. It's great background stuff for like when you're doing other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I love Voyager. It's great.
The entrance song lulls you to sleep because it's all peaceful with the French horns and stuff. And we're talking about Star Trek, and we need to talk about
Let's
this movie.
before we get too off topic here, we'll save Star Trek. Trust us, guys.
Oh, yeah,
Again,
we'll get
we are
to it.
both big fans. we will talk Star Trek at some point.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about that.
Our first 3-hour episode.
Something. So we see him, and again, even last Star Trek moment I have to talk about before is literally even as he jumps out and tells them he needs them to stay in the light. The way he's holding this gun even looks like the way he holds a phaser. In Star Trek, like like since you can only see him in the shadow still, and you can't see how young he is, I literally almost expect like white hair streaked Chakotay to be standing there with that pistol.
Got the tattoo on his face.
Yeah, everything.
Ready to go.
All right, that's it on our deep cut. We're gonna get back to just the movie and no more
really
Star
on
Trek.
An away mission. This is
Stop. It's a time travel episode. I know. I get it. I thought it. Back to what? Back to on track.
To the movie.
Back to on track. He demands them to step in the light so he can see that they're not zombies like we said. Once he sees that they're not zombies, he tries to reassure them that he is not trying to rape them or kill them in any kind of way. He is literally just...
Because he says something. He's just like, it's not like that.
And so then he proceeds to tell them how he got here.
Yeah, he picked up a girl and they rolled into town and she freaked out and ran off and
got eaten.
He found her like 20 minutes later.
Yeah. They ran into one of those, and he's the first person
to say zombie
in the movie, but he does clearly say zombie. You know, you get some zombie movies where they exist in a world where the concept of zombie doesn't exist, so they don't use, like, you know, Walking Dead being the historical one there.
Yeah.
They don't have that word because apparently in their world
don't they call them freaks in Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah, so, you know, like but in this world, we definitely live in a world where mainstream media made zombie movies, and he refers to what they see as zombies, wholeheartedly zombies.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt here, guys. When we said this is zombie dust, we meant zombies and dust.
So perfect for the beer. It really is.
Let's see, where were we at? Zombie.
Yeah, he does his story talking about all the stuff about people getting eaten. Regina gets upset because she finally realizes what happened to Larry.
And again, at this point though, I want to say the last we saw Larry were some of his douchiest moments.
Yeah.
And this is the point where I was like, should she be that tore up about this?
She just felt sick. She didn't go like cry.
I know. Well,
she's a little. She wasn't like inconsolable though.
And so Hector goes after her to
he goes to
well, I specifically want to say Hector because the scene gets weird.
Yeah.
So Hector goes to console her and make sure she's okay. Yeah. And she then proceeds to call him Hector, like she doesn't believe that's his name.
She's a little racist.
It was very strange.
She gets worse with a little bit.
I know. But I don't even know if that was racist. It was almost more like she was just like accusatorily telling him like,
oh no, she judges the shit out of him. And
it's just like, where is this coming from? Yeah, no, she mocks his gun.
Well, she turns and looks at him and is like, what were you doing when this comet happened? He's like, I was in the back of my truck.
Well, no, but she wasn't.
Whatever.
Again, that's bad acting. Again, you misinterpreted the scene because of bad acting. That was her trying to find out why he didn't get turned.
She was
she asked where he was because when he said the back of the truck, it was steel. She even said, oh, steel.
Yeah, but before that, she totally was like judgmental about what he was doing.
Oh, yeah, but again, she didn't care. She didn't care. No, again, I'm telling you, bad acting. It was just bad acting. It's that scene is not supposed to be her being upset that he was, again, she was sleeping with somebody. She doesn't care.
That's why I was like, where are you judging?
I'm telling you, that's just bad acting and you read it wrong.
God, send me actors. No, but then Beltran is the best actor in this movie.
Yeah, but so the next line though is the one that which is the one where she gets a little bit racist, and then he even calls her on it.
She's making fun of his gun.
So she says, "Oh, this gun won't do. It might protect you a date night in the barrio,
right? It's good enough for a date night in the barrio." And
that's about it. And he's like,
the bag. He's like, "Date night in the barrio? What the hell?"
It's a weird line.
And they come up with the plan to get more guns.
That they're
They mention the base
Los Alamitos. Not Alameda.
No, so close.
Los Alamitos.
Alamitos is an Air Force base, I think.
Yeah.
Not a naval base.
It's I looked it up.
Oh, did you?
It's Los Alamitos is a joint force base. So
everybody's
used,
there.
Yeah, it's used by a lot. And that's what she says. When they talk about it, she says something about how it's like
reserve base.
Well, she specifically says armed forces and not specify which one. Yeah. So she technically tries to tell us that. she just doesn't use good
Yeah.
terminology for it.
This scene is just to make us know that she understands how guns work.
And so then we cut to Sam playing around.
She's
She
playing
wants-
DJ. She's
again,
having a good time.
She's got to be, what, 16, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Because Regina's 18. They
Yeah.
definitely tell us that one. So she's just like, she's a teenager.
Yeah,
she's
having
having
a good
fun.
time.
She's in her radio DJ booth, and she's like, let's play around with this stuff.
Yeah.
So she cranks everything to max, which is crazy. If you look, even one of them was the turntable volume. It specifically had the tape on it that said turntable, and she cranked it. And I'm like, what good's that doing anybody? Because
Right.
at first she wasn't listening to music. She's playing with the radio. She starts doing, and she pretends to be a DJ, and she's being all goofy and silly. But I want to point out, she says on the radio, she says, all you teenage Comet zombies. That's what she refers to the people listening. That was going to be the name of the movie.
Was Teenage
That was the
Comet
working
Zombies?
title of the movie, was Teenage Comet Zombies.
That's a better title. They should have done that.
Well, I think the problem with it is that if you actually watch the movie, and we're giving a little bit away here, are any of the zombies actually teenagers? We got some that are close. They might technically be 19,
Yeah.
but I don't know if
Not
we'd see
really.
any teenage zombies, which is why I think they decided
To
it
go
wasn't
with-
actually a good title.
Yeah.
It seemed like a good title. It's a good
Until you
title.
read the script.
It's a good title for another movie.
Yeah. It's like this. Yeah, the sequel.
Yeah,
There we
it's
go.
not a good title for this movie. But yeah, so then she sees that the phone is ringing.
Someone's out there.
And then, of course, though, we don't
get to hear the conversation.
get a
No, it just cuts back to Hector and Regina
talking. Now, this is when they really get into the conversation about Los Alamitos.
Yeah,
though.
where they're gonna go.
Because
more
this
guns.
is when we get the line. Hector's like, "Oh, do you guys even know how to use automatic weapons?" And she says, "Well, of course, Hector. The MAC-10 submachine gun was practically designed for housewives." The way she delivers this line, like it's common knowledge.
Yeah,
like she's not saying
everyone knows
she's not
this.
saying it like it's a joke. She literally
No.
delivers this line like she's telling him, like,
Stating the time of day.
Yeah, like,
no, it was
obviously,
literally designed for those.
we
That's
can use
why anyone can shoot them, which isn't true.
yeah. And so then that's when Sam runs in and is like, "Oh, guys, I gotta tell you."
And then can't remember.
Yes, exactly.
Anything about what she was
since
told.
we don't get to see the conversation, we get to rely on her to tell us. And in true, again, Valley Girl, despite the not having the sound fashion, she tells us nothing important about this phone call. She's
Something
like,
about
some
the
people,
desert.
a think tank maybe, lab guys. I
Yeah.
think they were lab guys.
And they're in the desert. That's like all we get.
Which desert? I don't know. Did they say what town they were by?
No. If you think I'm hiding something, I'd tell you if I could tell you. It's like, well, what the fuck were you even doing? And then we get to cut to the underground scientist people.
Yes,
right?
and when they're
listening to them argue on the radio.
Yes, and the beauty here though is that as these scientists are listening to two teenagers, and
Hector's got to be at least 20 something.
but he's not supposed to be so far that he doesn't relate to these kids.
Yeah.
And so he's
21.
21 tops, I would say, is what they want us to believe.
Yeah.
And so again, they're listening to these teenagers, all of them essentially teenagers arguing, and we hear one of them be like, "As long as if they stay put, we'll be able to find them." Yeah. They won't wander far. It's the blah, blah, blah. The radio, socio, whatever. He comes up with a crazy reason for why they would never leave that.
The radio tower represents normalcy.
Yes. Foreshadowing the fact that obviously these teenagers are not going to stay at the radio station.
Immediately, they all wander off.
Well, not immediately. We do get the next
they
moment.
spend the night in the
We
radio
get the
station.
next moment though. As soon as we cut away from these scientists, because we don't really learn anything.
No,
We just get to hear them say these couple of dumb points about this, and we get to know that they are indeed actively listening to what's happening.
Tiny bit of exposition on, like, we get confirmed that the comet is what turned everybody.
Yeah, and that it is slowly drying
people out.
Yeah, that's all we get. It's a calcium.
Yeah,
all that's
calcium dust.
all that's left is calcium dust. And so then we cut immediately away from them into a scene that when you first start seeing it is so jarring because you're just like, what's happening right now?
Right.
Because it's just Sam driving down the road in a dress, in a wedding dress or something.
Drinking a beer.
Like looking very like Madonna in the
Yeah.
car for some reason. Drinking a beer,
It's the 80s.
being upset that they thought it was her fault that the phone line got disconnected. And she drives past two cops. Lights turn on and again, as if it wasn't jarring enough that we
Yeah.
just start with this scene. It's
No,
very jarring that we're just like, oh, there are cops?
I had to rewind it. I thought I missed something. I was like, what? Is this a new character? Like someone? And I was like, no, that's Sam in the car.
And so then she gets pulled over. She's freaking out like any 16-year-old drinking a beer while driving would.
Doesn't
and then
have her
she's
license.
And then she stops and was like, oh, wait, I should just be relieved. It's police and we're in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
She rolls down the window and there's zombie cops.
They immediately attack her. And she wakes up. It was a dream.
Yeah, it was just a dream. It was just,
Just a dream.
It's just a dream.
She's on the couch in the studio. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
She's just like, whew.
She talks to her sister for a split second, calms herself down, goes to the bathroom. The craziest looking bathroom I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
it's a weird bathroom. Decides to.
Starts bathing herself in the sink.
Yeah. No nudity.
Yeah. Next thing you know, the zombie cop!
He's back and doesn't eat her. Holds her up, says, "Say hi to your stepmom," and stabs her with a switchblade.
And then she wakes up again because it's
Yeah.
not the 80s if we don't have a dream within a dream sequence.
Right. That's what I said. I was like, I love this. I wrote in my notes, and I'm sorry. I love the 80s.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's right here in mine. It's the 80s, so it has to be a dream within a dream sequence.
I think I've wrote several times in my notes. It's like the 80s.
Oh man, this movie has so much quality 80s
Does
to it.
it?
So then the next thing we get that we find out that I have to point out, it's not majorly important to anything in the movie. I just heard it and had to be like, well, that's weird. We've assumed this whole time that their mom died, right?
Yeah.
Because no one's, and then we just find out that no, their dad was a Vietnam vet, and when he came back from Nam, she was like, peace.
Yeah. She's
And
like,
they've
oh,
never-
thank God you're back. I'm out of here.
And they've never seen her
Take
again.
these damn kids.
Right? Is that not crazy?
Yes.
I heard that and I was like, wait, what?
I didn't like your stepmom, but your mom sounds worse.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't, you have, which ones were, like,
Yeah.
I'd have to actually meet your mom to make the determination right now because they're both kind of neck and neck.
I like when she's talking to Hector in that scene, they're getting to know each other, and it's the cute moment where they're getting to like each other and stuff. There's actually kind of a fade cut where it's like she's been talking for a while, and he's kind of bored, like kind of like, oh yeah, that's real an interesting look on his face.
Yeah, so the rest of that scene, though, it was just the two of them talking until they fell asleep, as
Yeah.
far as we know. That's what we get told.
Laughing and giggling.
Yeah.
They don't do anything.
Just getting to know each other.
Sam is jealous.
The next morning, we get to wake up and see that Sam is not happy because Reggie is taking every boy she's ever wanted, and now she's taking the last boy.
Yeah, the only one left.
Then they laugh because they realize how silly it is.
Yeah.
And then the next scene we see is them target practice shooting,
blowing
even
a
though we
car
don't.
away.
Well, but again, we don't even. When did they go get the guns? As far as we know, it's been 12 hours since the
Yeah.
conversation of where the guns were.
That radio station's right next to the base.
Los
They
Alamitos?
just jumped the fence.
They're literally, like it's the.
They
it's
just
the
walked across the
but so
street. The armory.
we can only assume that there was a whole adventure we didn't get to
Yeah.
see. Maybe it was filmed, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Maybe it was never part of the script.
No,
I don't know.
they mentioned it in dialogue. That was,
And
all
that's
we needed.
it. That's all we got. And so then we see them target practice shooting. And I'll tell you, Sam handles a gun way better than I thought.
Yeah.
She annihilates
Yeah,
this
she does.
this
She-
poor.
She even gets mad that it jams and
No.
looks at her sister like, "This is why they're like, Dad would have got us. Better
Daddy
guns."
would have gotten us Uzis.
Yeah, she's just mad about the Mac-10 jamming. Just that disgusted look on her face.
Another one of those interesting behind the scenes facts. That line of dialogue, Daddy would have gotten us Uzis. Total ad lib line by the actress when the gun jam
Nice.
actually jammed on her while filming that scene.
Nice. I love stuff like that. Yay.
Yeah, because that's a great line.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
It's one of my favorite lines in the movie, and to know that it was ad lib lets me know I definitely don't like the writer.
Yeah.
It's the best line, not his.
Yeah.
Then we cut to bullet holes magically being disappeared off of the truck. Did you notice that? So they shot up the truck or car or whatever it was, right? And they have their little scene where they talk, and then they cut back to the truck for just a split second. You know, when you see the smoke coming off of it,
Yeah.
no bullet holes.
I didn't notice.
Not a one. She laid
Yeah,
it
she
down. I
did.
mean, there's a line of bullet holes, and they cut back, and it's a pristine car.
Nah, they messed up.
We then find out that Hector has to go.
He's going home to look for his mom.
Yeah, where did San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego.
Or San Francisco?
I think it was San Diego.
Sand somewhere.
Sand somewhere.
He's got to make a drive.
Yeah.
He's got to check on his mom, and he said
Sisters
some,
and-
other family he's
Yeah.
got to check on.
Even though
Despite the fact
Yeah,
everybody knows.
He knows her.
Everybody
But
knows.
you gotta
You got to make for sure.
closure and all that.
So we see Hector go on his adventure. There's some other stuff, but it's not important. We can just go to Hector's adventure.
Yeah, he rolls up in his truck.
Yeah, so he gets to his mom's house, and again, much like every other scene in this movie, wants us to just be blown away by 80s technology and timers on everything. Like
Right.
that's the end all be all of technology. Every time they show us, the first time that we saw the day rise, they made sure to show like 19 things on automatic timers.
Yeah, the clown at the car
clown.
shop.
They make sure every time that
then it
the
starts moving.
sprinklers start going, we see
Yeah.
that they're on timers. The radio station and them being shocked.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's top.
Everything's automated.
That's so futuristic. It should be on Star Trek.
Right?
And now we get it one more time. We get to see him step out of the car and hear the record player automatically start, and he's like, "Mom." But again, it's just on a timer.
It just, as soon as it gets done playing the record, it just goes back.
It's got a spring loaded automatically.
Oh, we would sit and try and time it like the little arm would come
know,
up, try and pull
yank it out.
and put a new one in before it would get down.
You probably broke a couple needles.
No, I don't think so.
You guys are lucky. He then is at that point just in his mom's house trying to see if he can
Find anything.
other than dust.
Dust.
He can't. But then he starts to hear stirring at the door or right outside. And I mean, I don't understand what he's thinking, because not only is it stirring, it's not like they just give us some rustling around. They give us full on zombie sounds. Yeah. And his reaction was, let me open this door. No gun drawn, nothing ready to go. Just let me open this door.
Right.
And he opens the door for us to see the craziest little kid zombie. Again, most movies don't touch this subject.
No.
We don't see little kid zombies too often.
But this one's nuts.
This one is not only here, this one is maybe the most dangerous zombie in the movie.
He parkours through this house after Chakotay.
It's crazy.
He puts his head through the
he puts
door.
his
He slams
he
the door,
realizes
and
he
the
has to do
kid
something.
just goes right through
He
it.
realizes he's got to do something, but he knows he can't kill this kid.
You're lucky I like kids.
Right.
And then he runs. He just runs out of the house.
Wouldn't
and
you?
Just last time
After
we see him,
seeing the craziness that went on and then getting thrown. But yeah, so he deals with the kid the best he could.
yeah, he
and
ran
so
the fuck away.
then we cut back to the scientists, right? For a split second, because that's when we find out that
The scientist people have been affected.
we find out they've been affected. We find out that they are bringing other survivors
And they're trying
right
to
now
find
and trying to
serum or something.
to maybe help cure them. We can only assume
They're here
that
to
these tests. Well, no. They want us to assume they're here to help, but at this point, we can clearly tell it's sinister.
it's a
There's nothing that
shady government agency.
the viewer of the movie knows that it's sinister.
Yeah.
We can assume that whatever this testing or serum making is going to do would possibly kill the people it's going to be done to, right? Because the one scientist the lady was like iffy on it to start.
she
with.
doesn't really
She's like,
wanna
I
be
don't
a
know,
part
I
of
don't
it."
want to do that. It seems fruitless to bring people here.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the helicopter landing with the first people they're bringing.
Yeah, the survivors.
Children.
Yeah, two
and
little
that's the
kids.
moment
No.
she was done.
We don't get to hear what she's
No. That scene was so funny.
Right.
She takes him off to the side and
She's
they have a
yelling.
heated
They're
conversation.
yelling at each other.
We can just only assume that the conversation is essentially,
Kids, Charlie. They're kids. I'm
and
not doing it.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's my line.
You'll do your job and you'll like, something like that.
And so we don't get to know.
No, it's
we cut away from them.
all helicopter
Yep.
noises.
We cut away from them back to Sam and Reggie
David Reg.
hanging out on a cop car. We got no explanation for when, where, why, how
Maybe they,
they have a
walked
cop
up
car.
on it and was like, well,
Well, but the best part, they've got the siren going.
and they're acting like they're waiting for the scientist people to show up.
Well, remember they had talked to him.
Yeah, but they said they didn't know.
No, they told him to hang tight.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, but again, they didn't tell him. So this is what's weird. The scientists made it sound like they needed to stay in the exact spot, but then
Yeah.
it seems like the scientists told them
Where-
that they could just to stay in a general area, even though they made it seem to us like they had to stay at the radio station. Because later on, we even hear, I think we've already passed it, but again, it was such a small line that it seems inconsequential.
Yeah.
But Sam says something like that if we're going to travel the streets, we need to be careful because some of the people have been turned like Doris, but they didn't turn all the way, and they end up going after people like Larry. That's when she's throwing in all the names, like reviewing what happened 20 minutes ago in case we forgot.
Yeah, in case you weren't paying paying attention to the movie.
But yeah, so in that moment, they imply that the scientists told them they might need to be traveling somewhere.
Yeah.
Despite the scientists making it seem like they told them to stay put. Not really important. But so yeah, they're sitting there on the cop car.
They turn the lights on. That was smart.
The lights are on. They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And then Sam's like, "Oh yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna need a change of clothes."
Yeah.
And the craziness of that scene to me, now don't get me wrong, both of the things that make the scene crazy happen off camera, so we don't actually get to see them happen, but we know they've happened. The craziness is she makes that statement and then Reggie's like, "We're just gonna go steal clothes from the mall."
Yeah.
She's like, makes the joke about not having a credit card. You don't need it. But Sam just seemed like dumbfounded by that concept that they would go steal these clothes, right? This is after they have already gone to a military base and stole
a bunch of weapons,
an arsenal, and then stole a police
cars.
car. But the idea of stealing clothes from the mall just totally escaped her mind.
Are sacred to a girl in the 80s.
Exactly. But again, that's what I
mall.
said when I heard her say mall. I was like, of course we had to send our Valley girl to the mall.
And cue, girls just want to have fun.
Yes, and
because again, it's the 80s, and you know most of this movie's budget went to that song.
That one song. Oh, 100%.
That one song was
100%.
a third of the movie's budget.
So then,
because that had just came out in like 1985, hadn't it?
And so we see them doing all kinds of different things around the mall, playing with different outfits, dressing up for each other.
Get a montage.
Yeah, but then we see that they're being watched.
Creepy.
From people already inhabiting the mall.
Yeah.
And then those people all have weapons, and they quickly say, "Move out.
Yep.
Let's go get them."
Yep. One of them actually finds one of the girls' guns too, even, but not both of them, because we have to make sure that Regina looks like a badass, right? But they get attacked by creepy guys in the mall.
These guys though, I have to say, this is the most new wave
fucking Bowery boys.
80s style new wave guys I've ever seen. Because they all are wearing sunglasses, which we find out shortly is because they are all in some stage of
transition
turning
into a zombie.
But when we see them, we don't know that. We just see them all wearing these crazy avant-garde 80s sunglasses. Like, like the ones with the weird angles like reflective lenses and stuff. And it's just like, what are we this is not a gang. What are we looking at right now? And then on top of that, did you notice why did all the henchmen not all of them. Willie moved like a person. Yeah. The henchmen moved like robots. Did you see them? They were all very stiff. The two moved in unison together.
They did.
Like they were literally like and it was just like, what is happening right now? I don't understand what I'm looking at.
I can hear the director off camera being like, "All right, now turn right. Good. Now left. Perfect. All right, cut it." And then we just continue on. It was great. I loved it.
Such a crazy moment.
But Regina's badass. She's going around. She's shooting things up. Nobody can hit anything. Yeah. Like most 80s movies. We
see that. We see Willie, our gang leader, finally, he gets a hold of Sam.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Look, this is over.
Yep.
I'm gonna kill your sister." And then that's when we find out Regina also has a hostage.
Yeah, she got one of his boys.
And then again, like I said, Willie's a psychopath.
Yeah, he is.
Willie just says, I can't let you have one of my men as a hostage. And she's like, "Oh, no, I don't think you understand. You can't kill me. I'd be able to take him out before you could do that." And he said,
serious,
"No,
man.
No, I don't think you understand me. I can't let you have one of my men as a hostage." Bam. Fakest gunshot I've ever heard in my life.
Right? It sounded like a pop gun.
I don't know what it sounded like, but it definitely didn't sound like a gun.
No.
I wasn't like, "Oh, they're killing people right now."
No, it was bad. But then she goes, "You're crazy." He goes, "I'm not crazy. I just don't give a fuck." And it was the best.
It lets you know
what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
I'll kill my own people. I don't care.
Yep. And so
they tie him up, take him down into the bowels of the mall, storage area,
and proceed to play Russian roulette with him. But he calls it the scary noise game.
We're gonna play
the scary noise game.
What? Starts cocking the hammer back and clicking it.
And then we cut away for a split second in the middle of their game.
Yeah.
For the scientists to be like, the only reason I want to bring this up is because this whole scene was nuts to me. So the scientists, we see them and they talk to each other like they know, like they're like, "Okay, well, if they're not so at the radio station, Where would they be at? And immediately they make the joke like you would expect in 80s fashion. Teenage girls gotta be the mall.
Yeah.
And so they know what a mall is. But then when they cut to like the scene of them walking after having landed the helicopter,
Yeah.
they talk like they'd never seen a mall in their life before.
A shopping arcade.
And then it's a true monument to consumerism. They talk about it like they've never seen one before.
I want more explanation on who these guys are.
How long have they been in the bunker, man?
Because they keep talking about like the majority, and we get little bits of what they are, but no full explanation on like what they're about, what their organization is. I feel like we should have got more of the scientist guys.
I don't know. But there was definitely something lost in whatever they were wanting us to know about them. No, that being said, you bring up a great point about this, and I was going to wait to get to it to whenever it actually showed up in the movie. But since you brought it up, I want to go ahead and talk about it now. Did you notice we don't ever see it. It's not like in the lab anywhere. It's not anywhere, but at one point in the movie, we see their truck or their van or whatever the vehicle is.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about it more because it does play an important part. They had a logo.
Yeah. I saw it.
Did you ever watch Lost?
I did.
It was very Dharma Initiative.
It really was.
It was very Dharma Initiative, which I loved. I was like, is this proto Dharma? No. Or actually, in the 80s, it wouldn't even been proto. It would have been Dharma 2.0, right? Dharma was in like the 70s.
70s.
We're going to stop.
Yeah.
We're going to dork out over another thing that's not this movie.
We're going to go into history now.
The scientists show up in just the nick of time to be able to save both Sam and Reggie from
kill all these dudes.
And they kill everybody. Like again, like they set these guys up like they're some kind of antagonist.
Yeah.
Now at this point of the podcast, I will like to stop and point out that this is an hour-and-a-half long movie. So far, we have covered an hour. The last 25 minutes, because again, some of it's credits.
Yeah.
The last 25 minutes of the movie crams a lot in. So if it seems like we're just covering it really fast, we're not. The movie did.
Yeah, it's the movie's fault because at like minute 40, it's like go.
Yeah, so it's one of those things.
We have a lot of stuff to say.
Well, again, for a movie that forgot to show us Los Alamitos or them stealing a cop car, they lost track of what they were doing.
Yeah, they did.
And they were like, oh no, we need to finish this now. We need to make sure we get this story told. So that's just that way everybody listening understands. We are not about to start rushing because we were cramped on time. They were cramped on time, and we're just trying our best to cover the beats.
They were running out of film.
Yeah. We're just trying to make sure we cover the beats that we can that seemed important because there was so much happening so fast and so little of it important.
Yeah, it's just
because really if we were to wrap up to you just the story that happened in the last 30 minutes, I could do that in 5 minutes, if that.
Yeah. Hell, we could do it in 3 sentences probably.
Yeah. So just understand we're about to start rolling through some things pretty quickly because the last part of this movie just goes. It just goes.
Yep.
Quick. So once we see the scientists show up and save everybody, we see that the female scientist, who, like we already said, she's done. Yeah, she's already checked out. She was looking for a way to not keep doing her job. She decides this is her moment.
Yep.
I'm done. I'm not going to go back. And so she tells her co-worker,
glasses guy,
the guy that's with her, like, hey, I'm not going to go back. Look, we can tell she's sick because Sam's been having a rash because she just has a nerve. She tells us, we've talked about it
all the time
in the movie a couple times.
They make a joke about her dermatologist being dead.
So she just has this rash to it, but the other scientist is like, oh, she's definitely going to die.
One of those.
And so the female's like, oh, let me stay behind. Take care of her, obviously meaning kill her, and wait for this Hector guy to show up.
And take care of him too. That's how they made it sound.
Well, she said test him, but yeah, probably.
They made it sound like they were just going to kill Hector when he got back.
And so, of course, that plan would have been perfect, except for the coworker was like, oh yeah, but I'll stay behind too.
Yeah. And then
let me watch.
I'm gonna make sure you're gonna do what you're actually gonna do.
And so then we see that the scientist is talking with Sam, and she's just,
I'm gonna give you a shot.
Yeah, well, and that's when
she right up.
Is the scientist, as if she wasn't already on this page of I'm not with these guys anymore.
Yeah,
she's talking to Sam, and she realizes that they did want her to kill somebody that did not need to be killed because Sam was not suffering from
Yeah,
anything
she
to
tells
do.
her, she's like, no, I get rashes all
Yeah,
the
this is
time.
literally just
Like,
a
and
nervous
this is
rash.
Clearly a very stressful situation.
Yeah. And so as if she hadn't already decided what her plans were, like that's that moment where it like cements in. She's like, I'm not going back. These people are out of their mind. I would have killed an innocent person if I followed what they wanted. And so she then decides to, unbeknownst to us,
We don't find out till later.
she drugs Sam.
So it looks like she's dead.
And then kills her coworker.
Shoots him right in the freaking chest.
After she says,
Bang.
you expect me to go for my gun? And he's like, no. And she was just like, should have.
Yeah, she just fucking shoots him.
But so that's it with her and them for that moment. But we find out she's decided she's going to kill herself. And so she ODs on something. We don't know what drug
It's not till later. She goes, we cut to Chakotay showing up in the Santa suit. And then she kills herself in the...
Yeah, I was just going to skip that and say do we really need to cover him driving in the suit? Or can we just say that he comes in?
I like him in the Santa suit.
I know. I'm not saying I'm skipping the Santa suit. He comes in the door in the Santa suit. I was going to say he came in the door in the Santa suit. I just don't think the 30 seconds worth of driving...
That's fair.
Is important to be like,
but it's
so we see him driving in the Santa suit in a car that we don't see again.
There's a lot of driving. It's important to the movie.
No, it's not. It's unimportant to the movie.
It's the most important part of the movie.
It's unimportant to the movie entirely. We'll figure out what we edit out later. He shows up in a Santa suit, but she had already shot herself up with something. Yeah. We don't know what, but she's definitely set herself up to cruise on out of this life into the next one.
She is done. But she wrote down everything on a pad.
So that way he'd know what was going on. That's it with them for a moment.
Yep.
Cut to Regina.
Back to the scientists underground.
And so Regina quickly starts piecing together that the scientists are not the good guys she thought they were.
Yeah, because she's getting questioned and she's
weird
irritated.
questions about things that shouldn't be important. Then she realizes there are kids there. She kind of starts to be like, wait, wait a minute, what?
What's going on? And then she asks, where's my sister? And he's fed up. And he's just like, your sister's dead. She was going to die and we took care of her.
And then he locks, he's like, all right, you need to be locked back up.
And she's like, all right, I'm getting the hell out.
And so she makes the decision she's got to break out and get the kids. It's not just,
she's got to get the kids.
And so she makes it to the room where we find out these guys were literally about to laughing gas these kids to death.
And then drain them of their blood to make serum.
It's quite
right.
It's intense for a moment that they brush over really fast.
Yeah, it is. And
it's really intense. But so then she just busts in the room. She's like, I don't think so. And they're like, what are you gonna do? And then we skipped a part. So Hector shows up. We skipped over that. Sorry. Hector shows up outside
of the base
with
dressed as a cowboy
dressed up as a cowboy after being Santa. Where the costumes all came from.
Not important. It's just fantastic.
But so he shows up. He's got Sam in the trunk.
Playing dead.
And he tells the guard, you want a girl?
Yeah.
I got a girl.
I got a girl. Look here. And to the guard's credit, he's like, that girl's dead.
And then she jumps up. No, I'm not.
Yeah. And they take the guard out.
Yep. And so then they get inside.
And then they start planting bombs.
Well,
where to get the dynamite?
It doesn't matter. He has dynamite. Sam runs straight inside because she's got to find her sister. Yeah. She's not doing any of the dynamite. She goes in.
Yeah.
And so now we can cut back to where we were at. So at the moment Reggie was like, oh no, what do I do now that I surprised these scientists? Because I have nothing. Her sister pops in with guns and looks at the scientists like, oh no, you're going to listen to my sis.
Yeah, you are. And then they get the kids. They go leave. And
well, we don't see for a couple of scenes, but they take those two scientists who were going to laughing gas these kids to death.
Yeah, I forgot.
And essentially laughing gas them to death. We don't see them die on camera.
No, but they are definitely.
But they have taped them in a way where they will not be able to not be getting laughing gas.
The sign in the background said going to see Santa. Yes. And they're just laughing their asses off.
And so it's quite gruesome.
Yeah. And that dude just, because the scientist guy comes in and sees him, and the other guy's like, what do we do about them? And he's just like, screw them.
Yeah, and they leave them. I totally mean, like, again, I don't think Reggie and Sam's intention was that they were going to die. But those two people definitely died.
Yeah, because they're teenagers. They don't know if you breathe enough laughing gas, you'll die.
They might have even known that, but I don't think they would have thought the rest of the scientists were going to say, screw them, leave them taped up.
Yeah, definitely not.
They at best thought, oh, these people are going to start laughing their asses off and people are going to find them.
Yeah. and be like, what happened?
and take them out of it.
Yeah,
that's not what.
just turn around and lock.
But
the
in all
door.
fairness, we start to find out that the reason this guy is making these type of decisions is that he's tipped the edge.
Yeah,
he is no longer human, is definitely on the zombie side of things.
Yeah.
He's starting to speak slower. He's starting to be a little bit more.
His face is getting gone.
Again, these zombies are intelligent. I'm not trying to say that he's not.
Threw
He's
sunglasses
but
on to
intelligent.
hide his
Yeah, he's
eyes.
intelligent for a zombie. He is not as intelligent as he was when he was a full-blown human scientist.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing to make clear here. So he is slowly making this shift, and you can tell like his decisions start to get more clouded.
Yeah.
He speaks in shorter and shorter sentences. The sunglasses,
Yeah.
we just know, and nobody else seems to be going under not quite to the intense
No, it
lengths
doesn't
he
seem
is.
like anybody else is.
Yeah. And so that we then take the scientist. So at this point though, all we know is that Hector has been outside,
Yeah.
strapping dynamite to things. We don't know where it came from.
Nope.
We don't even technically get a clear shot of what he's putting it on, right?
I think it's a truck.
No, it is the truck, but do we see that then? We know it's the truck because we finished the movie.
Yeah.
I'm saying I can't remember. I don't think when they were I think we were meant to think he was just doing it on the exterior of the building or something.
I can't remember.
But either way, he's putting it on their truck.
He's planting the bombs.
Yeah, so then the girls make it outside
And
with the kids
And just
everything's
hop in
they
Hector's
hop in the
car.
car, they start to drive away, and then Hector's like doesn't say nothing to nobody. He just stops. And they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like,
Hang on.
Kids, I'm gonna need you to cover your eyes, please.
Right. And they do. They cover their eyes.
Girl peeks a couple times.
Yeah,
Just
she
saying.
does. She wants to know what's going on. It's fine.
And then everybody turns back to watch, and he's like, "I left our friends
A little going away.
Yeah,
present.
and then he stands up, yells at the scientists, flips them off just to make sure they're good and angry, and they all are like, yeah, run in the truck, and they all jump in the truck, and
head scientist.
the head
guy.
scientist is the passenger.
Yeah.
The what I can only refer to as the dumb scientist. He's the one who's
Yeah,
made all
he's-
the dumbest remarks.
Yeah, he's the
throughout
dumb
the
one.
whole movie. Is driving, and it's the first time he says something smart.
Yep.
He says, "Wait! I smell gas." But the other guy is so far gone
Yep,
that sentence
We get
doesn't
to see
mean
it. We
anything.
get to see him. He's all zombie.
He's got the silvered eyes.
Yep.
Again, not to say Star Trek again, but just like old school Star Trek, whatever. Yeah. But so he just says, "I don't care." Well, he doesn't say anything. He's totally zombified.
He's like,
He's beyond speech, I think, at this point, and just turns the key, blows all of them up. Again, if the assumption here is that if any of them have survived, they definitely can't chase after them. That's we're not done with the movie, but essentially that's the wrap up of our story.
Yeah.
So then we cut to random city in California. We don't know where.
No.
And we see everybody's dressed up to the
Nice.
nines.
Yeah.
Looks like Sunday best. Like they
Yeah.
just went to church.
Yeah. Some fine.
But we
flower
see
dresses.
it's Reggie, Hector, and the
Two
two kids
kids.
are standing at a crosswalk waiting. Well, we don't know they're waiting yet. We just see them standing there talking to each other, so we
Yeah.
don't know. But then we see Sam, and she's like, "What are you guys doing?"
We're waiting for the light to change.
And Sam's like, "Well, I mean, why would you even do that? That doesn't even make any sense. There's nobody here." And Regina tells her,
We don't cross when the light is on.
"The whole burden of civilization has fallen upon us." What does that mean? It means we don't cross when the light is on.
And Sam's just like, that is the dumbest shit. And
she-
she goes out in the middle of the road.
And we hear a car come blasting down the road.
And it kills it. No, I'm just kidding. It didn't kill her.
No, I totally thought it was going
I
to.
did too. And if this was made in like the 90s,
That's what
definitely
would have
would've-
happened.
She would have got plowed by a bus.
But so she jumps out of the street, and the guy pulls up.
Oh my God, are you okay? You shouldn't be walking across the street when the light's on like that, which I thought was funny.
And then he immediately realizes, oh, there are people.
Yeah.
Like he hadn't realized it. And they're not zombies.
Yeah.
And
You're
he-
survivors too.
And so him and Sam both lift up their sunglasses in unison.
Yeah.
To let us know that they've already made their connection.
Yep, like, nope, this is my dude.
And so
I
she's
found
just
him.
like, I'm going to leave with this guy. And they're like, you can't leave with him.
You don't
We
even
don't
know
know him. We don't know his name. And so
What's your
she
name?
asks him his name. And he says, Danny Mason Keener. In case that doesn't mean anything to anybody, in just a few moments, they peel away and we see the back of his license plate. That's DMK. This is the guy.
The guy from the game in the beginning of the movie.
The guy who's been the bane of our existence.
The whole movie for this joke, dude. The whole movie for that joke.
And then the last line of the movie is what it's. They say the whole burden of civilization thing again, right?
Yeah.
And then the dude is like, "It's awesome, right?"
Yeah,
or
no.
something like crazy. Again,
then-
totally 80s. It's radical, or
Yeah,
it's awesome, or
totally
like
radical.
tubular,
Cowabunga!
because it's the 80s, and we needed a couple more things to make
Yeah.
sure you knew.
And then they start playing, tossing the football around, and the credits start rolling, and it's all happy, and these are the last humans on Earth. But I loved this.
It was a great movie.
It was awesome.
I will definitely say that. We can now officially say that we are finished with another one in the books. This movie is over. Now we're gonna go ahead and just wrap up with the end of a podcast. We gotta cover the things that people need to hear about. First off, I gotta say I've had this beer before. I knew I was gonna like it. I like it. It's great.
Yeah, it was good. Movie was good. Loved the movie. What are we drinking next week, Shane?
So next week we are going to drink Two Hearted IPA. That's made by Bell's Brewing. It's an American IPA. You guys know what to do. If you have any guesses on what movie we might be watching,
Go ahead.
or TV show, or again,
Be anything.
I'll go ahead and throw this hint out. It will still be a movie. We're still kind of in our movie phase.
Yeah, it's
right
the
now.
easiest thing to do, really.
But so again, if you want to drop the guess on on what movie it is that we're watching, you want to do that at our Instagram account. That's going to be at Kentucky Fried Critics. Nice and simple for us.
Yeah.
For anybody who's maybe watching this on YouTube, if you want to check out our website to see more of the podcasts or any of the social accounts, we have all of those linked, and the website's going to be shows.acast.com/Kentucky-fried-critics. And that website is up and running. We did run into some issues, but I've got them fixed and everything is working fine with that again.
Yeah, I'm glad you know how computers work.
And then lastly, anybody who's listening to the podcast who wants to maybe just help us out and check out the YouTube channel, again, there's not anything there other than exactly what you're listening to now in a video with no pictures.
Yeah.
But eventually we will. So if you want to be ahead of the game,
Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell. The little bell.
then you'll know when we're going to
tells
do
you
this.
when we do stuff, apparently. I didn't know that. I had to go back through all my YouTubes and hit the bell on stuff. Now I know when people do things.
Important life lessons from Bo.
Yeah, I'm only 35. It didn't take me that long.
I think that's everything we needed to do.
Yeah.
So I guess we're out.
Yeah. Go watch a movie. Where's the dog?